One of the mistakes people make with social media is
So the biggest challenge that I had when I was starting my business in real estate was picking the name. I did not want to name the business after me. The reason I didn't want to call the business after my name was...
What was your most effective marketing strategy that you spent your money on in those early days?
Definitely social media was most effective. We were doing lead gen for getting new listings and things like that. Doing that was so good because it was just extra prospecting. A lot of it was relationship building, and I didn't even realize. If you're out there thinking about starting your own real estate business, my biggest bit of advice would be...
So you've mastered the market, but now you want to start winning for yourself. I'm Daniel Lee. Some know me as real estate's funny guy, but in the Get Keen podcast, we get down to business and explore what gets people really keen, how to get the most out of your real estate career, how to build a successful business and live the best life for yourself and your family. We'll uncover how to be hugely successful in real estate, setting you up to get keen and make the next big move in your life. Welcome back to Get Keen, and today, oh my goodness, you wouldn't believe the guest we've got on, the legend himself, Antony Thompson from Blac Property Group. Antony started his own agency out of the back of a childcare centre 3 years ago, and today he's built a huge team of over 16 people doing close to 3 million in GCI in his third year of business. He's one of our most successful plum partners, and he's got heaps of valuable information he can share with all the agents listening to this today. So, with all further ado, no further. What did you say? Without further ado, that's what I was looking for. Here's Antony Thompson. Antony, thank you for coming today.
That's all good. I don't know if I can live up to that introduction, but I'll try my best.
Well, you absolutely can, because it's true, man. You're a really courageous guy. You're courageous to have made this move out on your own. I mean, I'd love to hear a little bit about your backstory. I already know it, but for the viewers, you know, here's a man who's had courage, who backs himself, who's taken a chance to go and do something great with his life. And the journey that he's on is just going up and up and up. I'll let you tell the story. Tell us about, just where you were 4 years ago. And actually, Antony's got a even more crazy backstory that maybe he would like to share with us about when he was a real estate agent and the changes that you made to really turn your life around.
Yeah, there was a lot happened in my life before I ended up opening a business and doing okay in real estate. This is actually my 10th year this year in real estate, and I really think I've only done any good in just over the last 4. I really got into the real estate lifestyle of partying and, all that sort of stuff, and I got way too carried away. I was drinking every day and, going out and doing all the stuff that comes along with drinking as a real estate agent, and it just got to a point where it was too much, and the option for me was, hey, yeah, you make money, you start to do all this other stuff, or you really need to buckle down and go for it. So I quit drinking for over 4 years ago. It was 4 years in April.
Okay.
After a big
Well
bender.
done.
Yeah, and it was the single best decision outside asking my wife to marry me. It was the single best decision that I've made in my life for my life to go forward. It was just so time-consuming, all-consuming. I'd wake up every single day behind the 8 ball, and it's funny, 8 ball, right? But I'd wake up every single day.
Those that know.
And it just wasn't good. I swear, it was almost instantly the second I stopped drinking, I got rewarded by the universe, I guess. I was working the same, but, the first one was really small. After 30 days, I bought a new car, right? Then 60 days, I stumbled across a block of land that I ended up buying. Then I, settled 7 sales a month after, which is the biggest sales month that I'd had. And all of this then led me towards building a more resilient person that was more switched on. And within 6 more months, I was ready to open my own business. I'd grown a team and I was ready to open my own business. And all of that came from stopping drinking.
Wow.
Yeah. And I still attribute it to that day. That's why I still haven't had a drop. And I don't think I ever will.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, one's not enough, 100's, or what is it? One's too many, 100's not enough, or whatever
Yeah,
it is.
yeah. And look, you're probably a type of personality. You strike me as the type of guy that, you have one, you have 100.
Yeah.
And it's not that you can't have a couple of beers, but I resonate with that because I stopped drinking heavily about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I really believe it's changed my life too. Absolutely for the better because, and something that I read that is so true is that drinking, all it does is you're borrowing your future time because you never feel good later on after drinks. No one feels good after the drunk or the tipsy has worn off.
Yeah.
You don't feel good and you're borrowing your future time.
Yeah.
And I got sick of wasting my future time and wasting my potential. And so drinking for sure it's just ingrained in our culture that it's okay to do a lot of, but it really isn't.
100%.
It just beats you down.
Yeah. And look, and like I say, people still do it and that's fine. People function well and do it. For me, no good, right? It just, I don't go together because like you just said, I'm everything or nothing. That's my only personality. I don't have mid-range.
Yeah, okay.
It's like if I'm not, and I say this to Emma because she'll just have like 1 or 2 wines. I'll be like, I don't see the point. I genuinely don't.
Yeah.
Whether it's a bad way to, that's why I just don't drink. But I'm like, if I'm going to have one, I'm going to have 31.
Yeah.
Like I'm going for it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that.
Absolutely. But you are a guy that goes for it, which makes you the personality that you are and is probably set you on this path of success. And it's really encouraging. And, hopefully we can inspire some other young agents to make a similar move to what you've done. So tell us a little bit about that. You were an agent, and then when was the point that you decided, you know what, I might go do this myself? And why did you make that decision?
The point when I realized it was time to do it myself, I'd accidentally grown a team, right?
Okay.
I just want to also say that when I started to grow the business or when I started a business, I never intended to be this big business owner, right? I found myself, I had Tom, who's still with me today, and I had Murray, who's also still with me today, and they both ended up with me. And I was like, okay, this is great. Like the leadership role's going pretty well. I still don't know really what I'm doing, but hey guys, let's go on this journey together. And then financially, it made more sense for me at that time to start my own business, to be able to reward them well, and to be able to run our own race. So that was a big driving factor. And I had both of them behind me being like, whatever you do, we're coming. We will back you. So I was super fortunate that I wasn't the only one that had to make that decision. I had the backing of them. So supportive.
Nice. So was it more of like a burning desire that that's what you wanted to do, or was it that you didn't really get much value out of where you are? Because it can be a number of different reasons why you come to that decision to go out.
Originally, the conversation started around the value.
Yeah.
So we wanted to get more value out of what we were doing because we were going down a path of different marketing avenues. And I just spent 20 grand on this marketing company. I was like, if we wanted to go big with our marketing, we wanted to go hard with it. And I was like, if we have extra money from starting the business, it wasn't to line my pockets, but it was so we could push it harder into marketing and all that sort of stuff. Because we had these big ideas and we've always tried to go the way that everyone else isn't. So we always wanted to explore what the bigger ideas were and how we could sort of stand out. But we needed more disposable income to be able to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So how much income were you making when you, like, in the last 12 months, and you said, I'm going out on my own, how much had you made in the last 12 months, GCI?
So I had written just under 500 in the 8 months that I was at that company.
Okay.
Okay. So, and that was a fresh start from nothing. It was all cold calling, went from basically 0 to 500 from the March to the
December.
December is sort of when it ended.
Well, that's and like that's achievable for most people with, an associate or two these days in this market with the value of properties now and the average comm. It's, 500 is very achievable.
Yeah.
And you can go and start your own business with that sort of GCI.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you decided at that point, I'm going out on my own. What was most important to you when you started? Because you didn't have a premises, right?
No.
No?
Murray's mum had a spare room in the back of her daycare and she's like, hey, you guys can use this for $100 a week. I'm like, sold. Let's
Yeah,
go.
nice.
I was building a house at the time, but the slab wasn't even down yet. So we were like, we didn't know how long we were going to be in there. So we all went, we got our blue cards, and because we had to have our blue cards to be in the daycare. And then we just started working from this space.
Okay.
Right. What was important to us, that we were together and on the same page and doing the right thing.
Yeah,
right.
nice.
Like we were doing the thing that we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Not what someone else wanted us to do. Like it was just our thing.
And did you find that there was any difference in the amount of business you got? Because I know that's a concern for a lot of agents is, oh, if I leave this agency or this brand I've been with for a long time, what's everyone going to think? Are they going to want to list their property with me anymore because they don't know my brand, or they think that I must be struggling because I've changed, or what? Like people get these crazy ideas about what the market's going to think about them when they really don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But did you find any difference? Like, was it like slow to get off the ground, or was it just like bang, there's business straight away?
When I went to start my own agency, I got more business. People supported me better. People came out to the woodworks. I had a mate message me, said, hey, my dad's not happy where he is. He's got a unit here. Do you think you'd be able to help him? Like in areas that I didn't even sell, people were just coming out to the woodwork and they were like, here, help us help you. It was so good.
Yeah.
Like, I'd always had a pretty supportive network before,
Yeah.
but I really found out how supportive they were once we took the plunge.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. And agents, that's honestly what it's like. People actually, when you go and start your own, they've got your back. Everyone's cheering for you. And it gives you an opportunity to get in touch with everyone and tell them the story about why you're doing what you're doing. And everyone loves an underdog. Everyone loves people giving it a crack, and people will support you. And actually, at that point, you now go from being employee of another agency or salesperson for another agency to being the boss, but of your own agency. You've just gone up a level in the status, right? Because people love dealing with the business owner. The business owner cares about the business the most.
Yeah.
And when anyone looks up on a website and sees the business owner, they wish they could work with them. So that's what they're now getting. That makes it so much stronger for you to be able to, list property.
Yeah. No, it was. It really was. And it was a really good pull for, the boys as well when they were going out talking to people. Like, I'll bring the business owner out with me and all that kind of stuff. Like, it gives you this next level of, when you hear business owner, you don't think three dudes in the back of a daycare. You think the guy in the suit getting off the airplane, right? Like, it's a successful businessman.
Yeah, 100%. But, that's what it is. It's a perception. And it's what people want.
Yeah.
They want to deal with the person it gives you a status, what's the word I'm looking, an authority.
Yeah.
It makes you an authority. Like, this person is skilled enough that they have been able to make enough to go out and start their own business.
Yep.
That's just like instantly what people are going to think about you. And it's those impressions that get us in the door and then give us a chance to make that further connection with the person. You know? So awesome. So you're out of the back of a childcare center and just ripping in. You just go like, what'd you do to just get business in the beginning?
Cold call. I was buying like data from anywhere I could. ID for me wasn't around yet. I was like, anywhere I could. I'm calling dudes like, where can you get me data for? Like calling data brokers. Asking to get me data for us to call.
And you just smash the phones all day.
Smash the phones
you
all
guys,
day.
I've been to your office, and these guys, I'm telling you, if you ever want to see an office that makes a lot of calls, go out to Blac Property Group. These guys absolutely melt the phones. They're the phone ninjas. They're the phone warriors. So tell us, like, what were you doing? Just smashing phones all day?
All day. So I was fortunate. Like I say, I had Tom and Murray. It was essentially like we'd be calling, they'd be booking appointments, I'd be going out to the appointments. So that I was at appointments basically all day, and I'd just do calls while I was around. So I took a little bit of a different approach with my associates. A lot of people send associates to building a pest, valuations, buyer appointments. I did all of those because I knew the value for them was being in the office calling. I could take calls anywhere. People would call me and I could make calls because I had phone numbers saved. So I would go and do that out on the road in valuations, building pests, rather than pulling them away from 2 hours of calling. So it made a lot more sense to do it that way for me. But it was just calling. I remember when they were trying to, they called me to try and get me onto Rita, the calling software.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh, you know, because we were clutching at straws when we was first started. We didn't have much money. And I was like, oh, it's like $350 a month, like all this kind of stuff. And then we finally got onto it and it made the call so much more structured and all that. This isn't a sales pitch for Rita, but it helped the boys then generate, okay, this is who I now need to call. But it was just calls. We tried a lot of different social media stuff, but as well, like that's a long-term game.
Yeah.
The short-term was calls.
So there you go, guys. It's like it's just the same stuff. Whether you're at an agency or then you go out on your own and have your own team with your own brand, the business comes in the same way, doing the same activities. It's just no different. So you obviously didn't have any like real issues getting started and getting business, but what were some of the challenges you faced starting your own business in real estate?
So the biggest challenge that I had when I was starting my business in real estate was picking the name. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew inherently I did not want to name the business after me. The reason I didn't want to call the business after my name was I worked for a company previously named after the person. And every time I would call, people would ask me, hey, is that guy going to come out with you? I just made the decision that I was going to name it a neutral name. If I wanted to grow the business, that was what I had to do. So if I was you thinking about starting my own business, I'd take a second and I'd think about what does it look in 5 years if I want to recruit. Another one of the challenges that I faced was financial at the start. I never claimed to be this big baller rich guy, and I definitely wasn't when I started the business. The second ever pay cycle into Blac Property Group, I had to transfer money from everywhere to pay Tom and Murray. I didn't have any money left after I paid them. I had legit less than $1 in my account. I showed them. But it was doing little things like that that built our bond. And then the third thing was the space. It wasn't a very big room that we were operating in. We were nervous, right? But also we needed to keep those overheads down. So I didn't want to take out a big, expensive space. And it got loud in there. We'd have to walk around and all that sort of stuff. But we knew that doing that work, we would outgrow it. And it was just a factor of our situation at the time.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. Like I look back on it, it was so good.
Yeah, it is awesome to look back on a day and think about those early days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so how much did you end up making in that first year, like out of the back of the childcare center in GCR? So there was you and two other guys. How much?
Myself and Tom and Murray. So we did just under 700 written sales in that year.
Yeah. 700,000 GCI.
Yeah, 700,000 in GCI in written sales in that first year, right? So it was slightly more than the year before, but with just a lot of different challenges and everything thrown in.
Yeah.
So that was an exciting time.
And that's enough to pay you, Tom, and Murray all like a good salary.
Yeah.
Put a big chunk into marketing and then take the probably 300K profit left after all of that and say, what are we going to do now to grow this business? What are we going to spend this money on? And what did you spend it on?
Marketing.
Yeah,
literally wherever we could find different ways to spend money on marketing, we did it. We tried things that didn't work. We tried things that did, all that sort of stuff. But my whole goal, and I stuck to this, was I didn't want to take a wage for the first 3 years.
And so what was your most effective marketing strategy that you spent your money on in those early days?
Definitely social media was, the most effective. We were doing lead gen for getting new listings and things like that.
What sort of lead gen?
It was like different. So every time we sold a property, it would go out and it had a bit of a chat bot there, tell them what they sold for, and it would offer them appraisal each time.
Do you still do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still works?
Still works.
Okay.
It's sometimes I'll just see a message pop up on my Facebook and it'll say, hey, I want an appraisal. And I'll scroll back for 2 years of these people asking for prices.
Yeah.
And then they'll text back, not interested, not interested. It's prospecting for me. So I employed Imi from
Imi Callister, the media coach,
from the
who
media
also
coach.
exclusively works with Plum Partners.
Correct.
And so she sets all of that up for you.
Yeah. So doing that was so good because it was just extra prospecting. A lot of it was relationship building, and I didn't even realize. He explained it to me because people are just messaging and messaging and messaging for years. And then we're calling on top, door knocking, selling a place around the corner from them.
Yeah.
It's just layering. It's layering.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the mistakes people make with social media is they expect a lead to come in and that it's got to be a ready to go, I'm selling right now lead.
Yeah.
And it's not. Most of the time, probably 1 in 10 might be someone who's ready to sell now.
Yeah.
The other 9 want to do something, but they're just reaching out now because real estate's on the mind, and it's about creating that relationship and taking them through those stages until they want to do business with you, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. You get the opportunity to build a relationship with the people.
And that's it. That's the thing that we need to, hold on to is those relationships.
Yeah.
Relationships win all the business.
Yeah. I think in real estate, it's so easy to make quick money. And I know it's not easy, but it can be so easy to make quick money that we don't want to put the work in for years to be able to make it, right? Because obviously if we get a quick listing, we make 20, 30 grand like that. But if we've got to put work in for 2 years and then we make 20 grand, like we've made a few phone calls for a couple of years, building a relationship to show our value. Like, I think that's where we drop a lot of the ball in this industry.
Of course. Yeah, of course, because it's just easy to be focused on like who's selling right now.
Yeah.
What strategies have been most helpful for you to grow your business so quickly in the last 3 years? Because you started in the back of the childcare center, you moved into the house once that was built, and then into the third premises, which was that commercial space, which you filled up really quickly.
Yeah.
And then now you're in this big, beautiful premises. It's probably way too big for you guys. It's about 450 square meters. So you've grown really quickly. What have you done to grow that quickly?
Some of the most successful strategies that I employed to grow my real estate business was working with good people.
Yeah.
But first it was finding the good people. So what we did was we started to do careers nights, right? This was advice I'd seen other people do it in the industry, thought it was a great idea. So we get as many people as we can into a room that want to get into real estate. We then talk to them all for that night and we identify who could be a good fit. The best thing about the careers night is it's actually like a reverse sell. I tell them what the job is. I don't glamorize it at all. I tell them about the nitty gritty, the dirty, and if they still want it at the end, I'm like, okay, this person's willing to try it.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely don't want them coming in with the idea that it's like selling Sunset.
Lux listings and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's a really good strategy because, getting everyone in a room at once saves you from having to like sift through 1,000 resumes and pick out the best and then do one-on-one interviews. What a waste of time when you can just do a big careers night like that.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? Like, because I've seen on your stories these careers nights.
Yeah.
And there's 50 people in your room, like here to get this, low paying sales associate job. How do you attract all these people to come along?
So we do a few different strategies. The most successful one is putting an ad up on a job website and advertising the job itself, and then calling each person that applies for the job and saying, hey, this is how we're going to be running the interview process. Please come along and invite them to the careers night. We also run some sort of video on Instagram, Facebook, and all that sort of stuff. And we let them know, hey, this is when the careers night is, and we sponsor that as well. Of course, then just a story and things like that on your social media.
Yeah.
To invite people that may already be looking and just create a conversation, because it's letting people know, hey, I'm always hiring. If you think you're the right fit, you're always welcome to message me. Because I think there's a lot of people scrolling the different social medias like, oh, I'd love to work there. Or, I would like to work there. And if they know that you're constantly hiring, they might reach out and they might be the person. Because real estate's all about, there's a lot of people that are right for real estate, but not everybody can do real estate, right? For whatever reason. It might be a financial reason. It might be a time reason or anything like that. but everybody needs to reach out and give it a go. And if you're already an agent, obviously it's a completely different story. You know how it all works. But yeah, that's how we sort of do things. Like I say, and I didn't make it up. I've taken the advice from another person who has also taken the advice from other people, and it's a really good system that works.
Yeah, okay. So of the careers night, like 50 people come along, how many jobs do you give?
Anywhere between 2 and 5, depending on the people themselves.
Are they usually brand new in real estate, all these people?
I've only had one person that was already in real estate come over.
Okay. And then, all right. So it's mainly to find like agents, like fresh though. Future agents. So they're going to be associates.
Yeah.
So how many would you put on at a time?
Between 2 and 5.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then, so what's the like qualification, that process they have to go through for you to think, okay, well, this person's good enough to be on the Blac Property Group team?
So first of all, they have to hang around at the careers night and impress all the agents.
Yeah.
Next, we do name Tinder. So the next day
What's name Tinder?
We sit in the meeting room and we go through each person, and they get either a swipe right or a swipe left,
nice.
depending on the votes.
So it's a group decision.
Group decision.
Oh,
I don't make.
Cool.
I'm like, I'd hire everyone.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm like,
right.
They seem awesome, and everyone's like, did you pay attention to this, this, and this? I'm like, no, but they said they'd be great. I'm so easy to sell to. So then everybody gets to be a part of that decision. Right. I feel like that's always a great thing,
Yeah,
because
that's great.
I may have missed something that someone else didn't.
Yeah.
Then we interview them. And it's like this time, I had more people that I liked than I had positions available. So we've all now offered them 3-day training opportunity where I can now see them work and see how they learn. And then from there, choose who comes in.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Well, that sounds like a bloody good program, and you've had some absolute superstars get born out of your agency who are now writing massive numbers, like some of these new guys doing over 500,000 on their own in just like a couple of years. That's so awesome. Last question before we wrap it up. To those agents who are out there and they're thinking, you know, maybe one day I'll go and start my own, what advice would you give to these people?
If you're out there thinking about starting your own real estate business, my biggest bit of advice would be, don't be scared. If you're doing 400 or 500 in commission and you think you're ready, don't let your fear of not wanting to do it hold you back.
Nice.
My second bit of advice, and you guys are going to think Dan's paid me to say this, but it's partner with somebody that can support you through your admin, because that's a big part of it. Admin, trust accounting, marketing, all those things. If it's taking you away from selling, you're not selling, okay? So that's my 2 bits of advice. Second one was unpaid. I don't know if I need to put a disclaimer in.
here's the bag of cash.
Thanks,
Cheers,
buddy.
All right, guys, that about wraps it up. Thanks so much to Antony Thompson from Blac Property Group. We're going to leave a description below with his Insta handle, Facebook page. If you want to reach out to Antony and ask any questions, I'm sure he'd be willing to help. He loves helping other agents and really appreciate the value that you've brought today, man. You've got a great story and it's super encouraging and courageous, and I absolutely love your work.
Love to be here. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Thank you for tuning into the Get Keen podcast. If today's episode inspired you, please show your support with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And make sure you subscribe on your favorite platform too. Don't stop there. Join our community of forward thinkers by connecting with me on social media at Dan_Lee_Plum. I'm looking forward to exploring more strategies and insights with you on your journey to the top. Until next time, keep getting keen.